Hi, Doug.
Hi, Talia.
Ooh.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of
what?
We're Not Fine. We have a fun topic today.
We do. It's sort of along the same theme of, is it an attachment disorder? And this one is, or could it be relationship OCD?
Yeah, the thing about it is, we've all been in some sort of relationship, right? And what we love talking about is mental health and relationships and trying to figure out what to do. And so, for all the couples that come in, and these are such great examples. So we're gonna bring one up. We're gonna read a mailbag today.
Yes.
And then we're gonna talk about what might the heck be going on.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one.
I love it.
I have worked with someone who has really similar issues, and I remember how long it took me to figure out what might be going on here. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I would love to hear our amazing listeners on what your thoughts are.
Yep.
If you've ever seen this or heard this. Okay. Why do I feel like I don't love him when he's not with me, even though I think about wanting him here? So 2 weeks ago, I spent every day playing Xbox with my boyfriend and his friends. I saw him for 3 days over the weekend and Easter, and everything was great. Last week, we spoke on the phone throughout the days and properly called at night like we usually do. Business as usual. Then last Saturday, I started to feel like I don't like him. And this has been going on ever since. 1 minute, I'll be sitting watching something and think about being with him, and I think I love him. The next minute, I'll think about him and I won't feel anything. I've spoken to him about this every day that it's happened. Deep down, I feel like I love him. When I think I don't, I still think about being with him. And I think to myself, would I feel differently about him if he were here? Today, we decided to take a small break until Friday so I can have some time to myself. I don't want to leave him because he's perfect for me and he's done nothing wrong. We've been dating for 1 year and 4 months, and not once have I felt like this. I'm confused. I'm not sure if it's because I'm stressed about other things in my life, or maybe it's conflicting with my feelings for him because I'm trying to love him while also thinking about other things. Please give advice. I'm not sure if this is anxiety or just my thoughts getting jumbled, and I have no idea what to do or think.
First of all, again, I freaking love this particular mailbag and entry because I think there's so many different dynamics to it. The one thing I was trying to look for, though, is I didn't see how long they've been together, because I think
a year and a half almost.
A year and a half.
And this is the first time they have felt like this.
Well, and the interesting thing about this, I want to go to a couple things that, they specifically said in this, like, he's perfect to me and has done nothing wrong, and we've been dating for 1 year and 4 months. That's where it is. I'm sorry. So he's perfect for you. He's probably not. Like, I think this whole idea, and this goes to my comment about, like, what are we supposed to feel when we're in a relationship, right? Like, what is a normal range of experience when we're attached to somebody? On a romantic level. And that's the physical, and it's the social, and it's the emotional. And of course, things change over the course of time, and we need to consistently communicate and negotiate our relationships and put work into them. But when you say he's perfect for you, I'm not sure I believe that, because there is no perfect relationship, right? Everything takes time and work. And clearly you're struggling a little bit with some doubt. So I'm going to tell you that one of the questions that I kind of think about in my head is the doubt real?
Yeah.
Like, is this person really, do they have real concerns? Are there things that are kind of creeping up in your relationship after this 1 year and 4 months that you really do need to address? And that's really common. I mean, of course, you need to consistently evaluate and make sure that if there's something that comes up in your relationship that's not working for you, and I don't care what that is, snoring or don't do the dishes or the way that they, whatever, any of those things. Like, if somebody is bothering you, if there's something happening that you need to address, make sure to address it, because that can connect to and associate with that sort of distance or not feeling quite the same way. But I want to go back to it because, what are we supposed to feel? Are we supposed to feel like in love all the time? It's really normal to have our thoughts wander. It's really normal to have our doubts of the relationship. It's really normal to reevaluate the relationship. And what I might say to this person is, make sure that you remind yourself of what you're looking for in a romantic connection. And if this person is meeting those criteria, you probably can let it go. and there's probably not a big concern here. But I think if you're finding yourself saying, you know what, I'm not so sure. I'm wondering if the grass is greener on the other side, which it oftentimes isn't.
Real.
Right? Greener on the other side. But that's the thing. I find it is greener.
It is green.
I could go on and on.
It is greener on the other side.
So the thing about it is, yeah, really, it's okay to have those doubts. It's okay to like second guess. It's okay to have those sorts of like, am I not in love with this person anymore? And maybe you're not, but maybe you are. And you just are finding yourself going through that process of like, I'm wondering why I don't feel so enamored with this person or this amorous feeling that I had at the beginning of it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not an okay place to be still. But it does mean that you might want to consider, like, is this a real concern? I'm going to go to long distance relationships as it relates to this too. Because I think a lot of times when people have that distance, they're like, can I sustain this? Can I find myself attracted to that person still across these miles and the time that we're not together? And distance can make the heart grow fonder, for sure.
It can.
But it also can lead people to kind of feel like I'm not feeling quite as connected. So the question is, what do you need to do to feel reconnected? And there's a lot of ways of taking care of that, whether that's connecting with them on a daily basis, whether it's having a date night, whether it's FaceTiming, whether it's making a phone call, whether it's texting, whatever it is. But you decided to go, by the way, the opposite way. And maybe that Xbox time was too much. And maybe you do need this alone time. So I'm very curious what this person feels after they've had that alone time.
Okay, so I really love this because basically Doug took on the perspective that this might not be an attachment disorder. This might just be issues in the relationship. This might not be, and this is what I'm going to introduce you to the concept of relationship OCD.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're teasing out. And this is why being a therapist is the absolute greatest gift and role in the world, because we're going to tease it out together, some of these ideas. So I wanted to talk about relationship OCD. And Doug, what you were talking about is everyone has doubts from time to time.
Sure.
What's different about relationship OCD? Basically, it's repetitive and compulsive and sometimes intrusive, obsessive thoughts where the doubt takes over everything. And you become obsessed with basically what OCD is this desire to feel certain that things are right or complete, or you're feeling exactly, Doug, what you were saying about like, what are we supposed to be feeling? It's the absence of that feeling. Like, aren't I supposed to be feeling this? And aren't I supposed to be feeling this all the time? And then it sounds like a year and 4 months in, maybe there's a crack in the pavement where now all she can think about is this the right relationship? Do I actually love this person? I'm going to go over some of these repetitive, intrusive thoughts that some people might be thinking. Are they good enough for me? Is there someone better out there? Are they the one? Do I really love them? Am I really feeling what I'm supposed to be feeling?
Right.
Maybe I've made a mistake. Maybe I've been living a lie this whole time. I didn't feel overwhelmed with love today. Or like sex wasn't that great today. Maybe we don't actually have a good relationship. There's also this sort of obsession, and maybe this is like OCD, not just in relationships, but also in other areas of focusing on flaws to the point of even like we talk about body dysmorphia, like in our own selves, like we don't see ourselves accurately. But sometimes people with relationship OCD can become obsessed with your partner's flaw, like one thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Their teeth or their nose, or you can't, like, can I be with someone who is this or does this, and like really focuses on that obsessively. I have more, but you like jump in anytime.
No, this is so good. But I also think this, is that someone who's just really avoiding getting close to someone by picking out a flaw? Maybe. But it's also like there are times, and I think this is where, like, I'm going to go to chemistry for a second.
Oh, yes.
Because I think when you have solid chemistry, like the 4 C's of relationships, right? Like chemistry, communication, compromise, and commitment. That I developed.
Doug invented that.
I did invent those 4 words. I did not. But
trademark.
But they are how I view a relationship. And so the chemistry piece of this, if you have strong physical and emotional chemistry, I think you can get through anything. Really,
agreed.
Right?
And it usually stays pretty strong. Like if they just are appetizing to you, or they smell good to you, or in the absence of them driving you nuts, you feel warmly towards them.
Absolutely. And so when you have these moments where you're like, is this the right person? If you have both of those elements, you're in a pretty good relationship, I would say. And so I think going back to this intrusivity of thought, I think this is where also anxiety comes in, right? Just purely anxiety. And so we talk a lot about avoidant attachment, but really let's talk about someone who comes into the relationship with anxious attachment. Like you're constantly needing affirmation. You're constantly needing validation that this person is the right person, and you're second guessing all the time. That anxiety I don't think it leads to the avoidance necessarily in somebody, but it can really damage a relationship if you're always doubting, because that person's never going to meet your expectations. I'm also going to pull in because, of course, I think psychodynamically, and I think to myself, like, what is your family of origin? What are the models for those relationships? I've talked to people before who have a really strong sense of how a relationship should go because of how their parents' relationship appeared.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
Right. And so the other piece that I think is, are you doing any sort of subconscious comparison? Are you trying to figure out, like when you say that, I think the question is, should you be feeling this way and having these doubts? Like, where does that come from? What are your models for relationships that lead you to doubt?
Well, and it's like
and they have intrusive thoughts.
Yes, because it's like when the doubt goes crazy and takes over everything.
Yep.
And this is one thing that I read that I thought was so good. Okay, tell me what you think about this. Experts aren't sure what the chemical process is in the brain that causes OCD, like for relationships. And this is like, how do we tease out the doubts, right? But it's really when people are like, the chemistry is so strong, and then it's repulsive. And then I love them, and then I hate them. And it goes back and forth, and you just can't track it. It says it likely has to do with the way different parts of your brain are communicating through hormones and electrical signals. So I think that's the difference, is like maybe for people who don't have that relationship OCD, it's sort of like the general weather pattern is, I love this person. I'm attracted to them. I'm crazy about them. And yes, sometimes I'm really irritated by them, or I want to be by myself. But that isn't like, maybe I don't love them, or maybe I'm not attracted to them. Also, you mentioned something about the reassurance piece, like the anxious attachment.
Yeah.
And the OCD tendency to need reassurance. This is what I found in this one particular, like the person that I'm thinking about was really struggling with this idea that if they weren't feeling good, that we're supposed to be together, I might not be totally attracted to you, I might not be totally in love. They were asking their partner for reassurance about that.
Yeah.
But really what the questions were about were like, I'm not sure I'm attracted to you, or I wasn't attracted to you today, but I was yesterday, right? It's like not something your partner can reassure you about.
Right, right. Well, although communicating about it can be something where the partner could say, so if it didn't work well for you, can you tell me what your experience was? And then you can work on your sexual behavior as well. Like anything, whether it's emotional, sexual, social, whatever it is, like those doubts that you're talking about, like you said, if sex was good one day and wasn't the next, why? Like try to figure out why.
Right.
And is it just your mind kind of playing that dynamic going on?
Well, and if you're like already coming in with a very disconnected or critical headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a relationship history question that I might have too. I could go all over the place with this because what your relationship history is in this particular situation matters. Like, have you found yourself in the wrong relationship before? Have you found yourself committing to something for a long period of time and feeling like, why did I waste all the time on that relationship? Because I should have moved on earlier. So there could be some historic pieces to this too, and patterns that might be contributing to why it is that you're doubting, right?
Yes. And it's the doubting that I think becomes so toxic and poisonous.
It sure can. So the other thing that comes up, I mean, aside from the stuff that we've already talked about, like what really is going on here? Like, is the doubt real? Is your pattern of relationships contributing to why it is that you're doubting this, and you've had some bad experiences and you just don't want to go through that pain again? Or is there some attachment stuff really going on where your anxiety and your doubt, and I love the concept of relationship OCD because it's that rumination, like, and there are people that do this all the time. And you know what's great is that sometimes people have come kind of wanting some help figuring out, is this the relationship for me?
Yes. We enjoy nothing greater than that question.
But what's so interesting about that, I've oftentimes found myself now after doing this for so long, like I find myself within 10 minutes thinking, yeah, this is not working. This is not going to be a relationship that works. And it's almost like
what do you base that on?
And I'll be honest, one of the ways that I base that is whether that person makes you feel smaller, if you need to accommodate them in order to be in the relationship with them. I was talking with someone recently who was wanting their friend to kind of change who they were for a moment while they were introducing a new person to their life, because it was, and I'm like, don't become smaller, be yourself. Like the goal is to be yourself in this relationship, which I would also tell this person again, just, it's okay to talk about that doubt, but let's talk about disorganized attachment. So,
which we've talked about a lot of stuff, but we haven't really talked about disorganized.
Right. And disorganized is a combination in my experience. Like it's a combination, like when there's an avoidant tendency in a relationship and an anxious tendency in a relationship, when the two kind of ping pong off of each other.
It's like if you picture a Venn diagram of a circle of anxious attachment and a circle of avoidant attachment, right in the middle of the Venn diagram, it's disorganized.
Well, and the truth is, if you're anxious and you're constantly seeking validation from someone who is avoidant, it's going to go the wrong direction. That person is going to get overwhelmed. And yet when that person becomes available to you, you can also be like, okay, so what is it that's going to maintain this? And how can we maintain this sort of closeness? But anxious and avoidant people keep ping-ponging off of each other. And this is where I get into trauma too.
Yes.
Because when I think about trauma bonding, for example, where you both are triggering each other's trauma, it can oftentimes happen in this way. Like if you're avoidant and then you actually find yourself in a situation where you're able to express yourself and then you get somehow criticized, or that person is anxious, or that person is...
It's unsafe.
It's unsafe in whatever way, you're going to crawl back into that space and just kind of ping pong off of each other, like I said before. Whereas if you're anxious and you're getting your affirmation and then it goes away, then you're constantly feeling on edge as well. So it's kind of this unfortunate, and we call it disorganized attachment because it's that combination of the anxious and the avoidant together.
Yeah.
And you can have that by yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's two parties to that all the time. It's that can be your own experience as well.
So we're just teasing those out. Like it's all sort of maddening to be in a situation where you can't trust your own gut. But
at the end, talking about it is going to be the ticket. So whether that's with a therapist or whether that's on your own, and you can do that safely and effectively, which is really hard to do, especially if it's gone on for a while. But communicating what your experience is going to be the key. And if it is, in fact, relationship OCD, to be thinking about it as like the goal, however you do that, and it might be like in vivo therapy, but even just the idea of your goal is to be able to sit with a relationship and your partner in their imperfection, and maybe yourself in your imperfection, and just love the person. Can you love a person whose nose is slightly too big? Can you love a person who does this one thing that irks you? Can you love a person if you don't love their sense of style? Can you love a person that's just uniquely themselves? And I think about like this person, it was almost a year and a half before there was a crack in the pavement. Like this person somehow managed to love the whole essence of a person. So that's it. We hope you got some value out of this. We love teasing apart the attachment or nothing, or attachment or relationship OCD or disorganized, what is it? What is it? And there's so many factors. So it's fun to dissect. If you love us as much as we love you, like, subscribe, rate, and review. Send us to people. Like maybe someone's gonna be like, wow, do I have relationship OCD? Maybe. And go to we'renotfine.com if you have any questions for us, anything you want us to answer. If you have a personal situation that you're in, a relationship issue of any kind, feel free to contact us there and make sure that you can either leave your name or not, and we'll talk about it anytime. And we're also on social media, all of them. So find us on TikTok. We're Not Fine. We're on YouTube, which is where more and more people, I think, are watching us because, put a name with the face, guys. And Instagram, Dr. Talia Jackson and Douglas L. Jensen with an EN, and We're Not Fine Pod. Take care, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
This podcast represents the opinions of our hosts and guests. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. This podcast also does not establish a standard of care, doctor-patient, or client relationship. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on the podcast or website, and because each person is so unique, all listeners are encouraged to connect with counseling and medical professionals for assistance with their personal journey. All people, places, and scenarios mentioned in the podcast have been changed to protect the privacy of those involved.